If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
He's calm, cool, and shackled. In this intense back and forth, a murder suspect lays out years of complex family dynamics, street drama, money feuds, and an ex's dangerous associations. He's grilled on jealousy, violence, and the final days before her death while flipping the script with claims of innocence, betrayal, and chaos surrounding the victim's circle. Is he a victim of circumstance or hiding a darker truth?
I just want to find out some information, what have you, okay? Let me ask you this. What level of education did you complete?
I have some college, some online college, and a lot of some military kind of school.
Okay, so obviously you graduated high school.
Yes, I'd say with all the combined, maybe 2 or 3 years college, with combined online and military.
So online, military, combined college. What did you specialize in?
Computer hardware repair and things like computer network.
Okay. Do you understand the English language?
Yes.
Can you write the English language?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions relating to drugs and alcohol. There's one main reason to ask you, just to make sure you're clear-headed today relating to this interview so you understand everything coming out of my mouth, okay? Are you under the influence at all when it comes to any type of drugs or alcohol at this time?
No.
Okay. Do you drink at all?
Yeah, I do.
When's the last time you drank then?
Last week or about a week and a half or so.
Okay. Do you take any drugs at all?
No.
Okay. And what I mean by drugs, obviously,
Nothing.
Okay. The other thing would be prescription drugs.
No.
Okay. When it comes to being clear-headed today, do you feel clear-headed?
Yes.
Can you understand everything coming out of my mouth
Yes.
today? Okay. And I seem like I can understand everything coming out of your mouth. You seem, in a blunt term, very with it. Okay. Okay.
As long as that officer gave you the purpose for seeing me, did he repeat what I had told him verbatim?
What he had told me is that he said that you wanted to talk to us about something relating to Ammons. That
Correct.
it had something to do with Ammons, is what he said.
Correct.
The thing that had come from my sergeant, because what happens is that officer that you're talking about called my sergeant. And in turn, my sergeant called me. So I'm getting the story from him, and it was my understanding that you wanted to talk something about Ammons.
Correct.
And then also, and this was just the wording they used, that you wanted to clear the air and you wanted to talk about Ammons. And talk about this case and something related to Ammons.
The case in perspective of that last couple of days, that when you're questioning my family,
right,
and not questioning me,
mm-hmm.
and you question folk that knew nothing about those last couple of days.
Last couple of days of?
When Pasinetta was living.
Okay. And we'll talk about that today. If you're willing to do that, we'll talk about that.
I'm not getting too far in that, and naturally you wouldn't expect me to get too far into that, but I'll get my purpose of seeing you, because I've never met you.
Okay.
And my family met you.
Okay.
And
did your family say I was a bad guy?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
did your family ever say that I disrespected them?
No. You're an officer of the law, and you're on that side, and we're on this side now.
Okay.
And that's just how it is right now.
Sure.
And when I'll get right into it, because I don't want to waste your time.
You're not wasting my time, and as soon as we get done with these questions, I'll ask you some questions. We'll get right into it. Okay. All right. Okay. So you feel clear-headed today?
Yes.
And you understand everything going on?
Yes.
Okay. You understand why you're down here?
Yes.
And it relates to the Pasinetta Prince case.
That's correct.
Okay.
You told me that house when they arrested me finally.
Right. They told you at the house, but I'm telling you that again
Yes.
today. You've already told me that earlier. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Before we go any further, I already told you that I got to read you your rights. Okay. And I'm going to use this form to read you your rights. Okay. It's Omaha Police Rights Advisory form. And I'll just put your name up here. Okay. Your address goes here. Okay, today's the 23rd of June. Central Station. I started the interview at around 15:44, so I'm going to put that here. And I'm reading your rights at approximately 1600 hours. Okay? It's obviously conducted by me. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I'm gonna need a yes or no from you, okay? I would like to advise you that I'm a police officer. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to remain silent and not make any statements or answer any of my questions. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Anything that you may say can and will be used against you in court. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to consult with a lawyer and have the lawyer with you during questioning. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you cannot afford a lawyer, the court will appoint one to represent you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Knowing your rights in this matter, are you willing to talk to me now?
Yes. But somewhere in there, this is new to me, but I can stop questioning at any time.
Anytime you want.
But that you didn't mention that.
It's not part of your rights here. It's not on this list.
Okay.
But you're mentioning that, yeah, if you want to stop anytime, you can certainly stop at any time.
Correct. It depends on which route. You have to understand that, where I'm at now, my life has just changed.
I understand that.
And for me sitting here, I don't know if this is a good move. I know what the lawyer would tell me.
Okay.
To let him do the talking. But then that becomes a game, so to speak, of who's the smartest and who's the wittiest. And the truth may not even come out.
Well, that's the thing that I want is the truth.
So that right there to me is a bunch of shit.
That I want the truth?
No.
Okay.
That the game that if I speak to the lawyer and you guys have to give it to the prosecutor, then they do their thing.
Okay.
And then it's nonsense to me.
Okay.
Me sitting here is nonsense.
Okay.
So shoot, ask me something here. I mean, let me tell you what I told the guy in verbatim in the truck.
What you told the guy verbatim in the truck, you said?
The officer.
Okay. We're talking about today now.
Today, en route, correct. He said something, and he said, well, what's on your mind? And my response to him is that particular day or that weekend when the gentleman, I don't know his name, got shot up on 6 different names, that was from 10, 15 years ago. And it came to the street. I'm pretty sure that's what got me here is talk and get him and persecute me. It's not me.
Okay.
That weekend, that guy was shot. Someone called her and told her that that had happened. And then within a day or so, all the buddies start popping up at the house. And she started having something to do pertaining to that incident up there on 60th. Because there was a lot of folk in town for that funeral that knew.
Okay.
Some of these folk, in retrospect, when you look back, if I'd have just broke up 8, 9 months prior to that, I wouldn't be sitting there now.
Okay.
Maybe someone else would. but it damn sure wouldn't be me.
Okay.
And that weekend,
Talking about the weekend of her death?
that's correct.
Okay.
That weekend, no one in my neighborhood saw anything other than a bunch of traffic at our house for that funeral, or for that wake, or for that whatever. But it was my birthday weekend.
Okay.
So naturally, you already know this, other than the Amish part. So I went to my birthday party.
What day was that?
I don't know the exact one now.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, do you know?
Friday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Friday.
All right.
I mean, I don't know the exact date.
And I'm not suggesting that you know the date. You know what the day?
Yeah, it was a Friday.
Friday. Okay. You said you went to your birthday party.
Correct. With all my family members, correct. And she went to the something dealing with a play. Then she's hanging out with the folks for the wake, because the wake was the next day.
Okay, so we're talking about the same night as the birthday party. She went to where now?
Something dealing with a play.
Okay.
And I mean, we're on good terms. Listen, if we have two vehicles. We had two vehicles.
You and who?
Pasinetta.
Okay.
She asked me at one point to get a van because of daycare. So I went down and helped her get a van. And I was making a note on that van. And that was my primary mode of transportation, was the van. And she had the Impala, which was a slight better vehicle than the van. If we were in any type of spat, she would not have let me. I used the Impala for my birthday. She said, baby, use the Impala for my birthday. And I did. And she said, I may or may not make it, but I'll see you when you get home. All right. Okay. There was no beef there.
All right.
The beef came apparently with someone from out of town. Or maybe not. And I don't, you got to understand, I mean, I could flood you with possibilities that I'm going to have to tell my lawyer, but I can flood you with these things.
Okay.
But at this point, it makes no sense, because I have on the leg irons and you're sitting there. So basically,
Well, I'd like to know what you.
Basically, what
I'd like to know what you feel, or how you feel, or what you think.
Basically, if that was the case, you'd have contacted me.
Okay. Not the case.
You'd have contacted me.
Not the case.
What do you mean?
Do you remember the first night that you were down here when she was found?
Correct.
Who did you? There you go.
So from that point on, you can't talk to me.
There you go.
Unless I reach out to you.
There you go.
Gotcha.
See, so this mindset of yours that, boy, if you wanted to talk to me, you reach out to me.
You answered the question.
Sir, I'm following the rules that I'm supposed to follow.
You answered the question. Once I signed that piece of paper, I was hands off.
There you go. So see, now today, you reached out to us.
Yeah, so
I'm interested, obviously, to know how you feel. I mean, if you want to flood me with possibilities, I'm good with that. Flood me with possibilities. I'm interested to know how you feel. One thing is, I'm interested in is about, do you know how long you knew her?
Yes.
How long did you know her?
Most of my life.
Okay.
I mean, I went to school with her, so I mean, that's not where I'm going with. Most of my life.
Where did you guys go to school with?
Well, I didn't go to school. I mean, high school in the same city.
High school in the same city?
I didn't go to the same school with her.
Okay. Did you, was your family friends or something? Is that how you became friends? Or?
Omaha's just a small city.
Okay.
Yeah, Omaha's just a small city.
How did you meet her? Do you remember?
No. I mean, that's many 9th grade, 10th grade. Who knows how, what happens during high school years.
How old are you right now?
I'm 45.
Okay. And obviously she died 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
How old was she when she died? Do you remember? About?
She was a year younger than me, so 40.
Somewhere around
40,
there.
right.
Okay. So if you look at her being 40 in 2006, and if you're looking at maybe 9th grade, I'm just going to put an approximate age here, maybe 13 or 14 years old. So you may have known her since you were 13 or 14, or she was 13 or 14?
No, not. I've seen her in the city. I mean, Omaha's a small city.
Right.
And guys look at cute girls, and there's a lot of cute girls when I was growing up.
Okay.
I didn't know her because she was she was at one school, I was at the next, and I didn't have a vehicle. So if you see them, you see them. If you don't, you don't. But I know we were not high school, nothing.
Okay.
Ever. She was doing her thing in high school. I was doing mine.
Okay.
I didn't finally hook up with her till later on in life.
About how old you think you would have been then? Just about.
Really don't know, because I was in. Really don't know.
Okay.
I'm giving back to the possibilities, because right now you're doing what I don't want to happen,
What's that?
and that's to do your job in a way that I don't know you're doing your job, which is fine. That's your job.
Well, here's the thing.
I wanna-
Okay, is that you are her boyfriend at the time that this happened.
Correct.
Okay? I'm trying to get as much information as possible from everybody relating to this investigation. It's got to be obvious to you that I'm not scared to reach out to people, because I'm reaching out to your family too. So it's no different. I'm asking you the same questions that I asked them. I'm asking you the same questions that I asked her side.
Okay.
I'm asking you the same questions that I asked the people that she knew, whether it be at the play, people relating to the daycare, whatever it may
We
be.
never, ever, 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 ever had a knockdown fight. I pushed her off of me a few times. Never hit Pasinetta. Never did nothing.
Okay.
Her cousins next door are gang members, and well, I take that back. They're just different characters next door.
Okay.
I'd be a fool to start something with that type of people next door.
Okay.
I never put my hands on her, and all this nonsense I've heard. I'm pretty sure you've heard that we fought. I was this. That's so far from the truth. That last weekend when she was alive, we were in good spirits. And we had broken up 100 times and got back together. That was no different than any other time.
Okay.
She gave me the best car and said, baby, enjoy yourself. I may make it, I may not. That's no need for no one to get upset. That's no need for nothing. And wherever she went and whoever she, was associating with that particular weekend, God, she was with the wrong people.
Okay.
Apparently.
Do you know who that was?
I didn't put my heads together 1,000 times. And I knew this day would come only because, and this is no plight on the Omaha Police Department, it's because when I came down here and knocked on this door, and when I not knocked, I say knock because it's just a term.
Okay.
When I came down here and let you guys know, here I am, talk to me that first night.
The first night, okay.
And I let you know where I was. I didn't have nothing to hide. You took pictures of me, you took my DNA, you took everything.
Okay.
That night. And I know her. She's a feisty lady.
Okay.
And if something were to happen to her, she'd put up a fight.
Okay.
And the only DNA in that house is in where it's supposed to be with me.
Okay.
I never harmed her. Never.
Okay.
Even when she harmed me, I never harmed her. She had put this scar on my head is from her.
Which one?
See that little line right there?
Mm-hmm.
We left a club one night, and I guess I said something to a female, and I was walking in the kitchen, and she pushed me, and I hit this.
Oh, edge of a table?
The counter in that kitchen is like a round
okay.
counter. I hit the counter, and hey, go on, pushed her away, and exited out the door real quick. I didn't leave to go start some nonsense. I went down to my family's house and made up an excuse. I didn't let them know, because I didn't want no fights in the family.
Mm-hmm.
I told them something else happened to me.
What did you tell them?
That I got into a fight or some I don't remember, but some nonsense. I didn't tell them we was fighting because I had some hot-headed people that was over there.
Okay.
But I didn't tell them that. But I never put anything close to fighting her.
Okay.
And I'm baffled that 3 years later, when you guys had me in your custody, what has transpired?
Okay. You're baffled by that?
Yes.
All right.
Other than conversations with people. I mean, I'm hearing you asking about watches and damn businesses of this nature, of that nature.
Okay.
Which that rings bells to me. It wouldn't ring bells in my family, but if you ask me, what a watch like that looked like, I can tell you. It looked like one of them idiots that she let spend the night on a regular basis.
Who would that be?
She let Marvell's he's a gang member. He's a walk around the house in a damn bulletproof vest.
Who's that?
Marvell. That's
Okay.
Marvin's son.
All right.
Marvell. She would let his little buddies spend the night while he wasn't there. He'd leave and they'd just be running in and out. And they wear crap like that. And she would buy booster clothes for them late at night. The phone ring at 11:30. Like, baby, what you doing? She'd get up, go downstairs, and start trying on clothes with 2 or 3 strangers. Well, one person she know, but everybody don't got to come in the damn house.
Okay.
Then I'd leave. I can't have myself, and I was working at ConAgra at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't have myself trying to work, trying to help you with the daycare, and got to stay up all night with this nonsense.
How long did you work for ConAgra? Do you remember?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. Okay. Why'd you leave there?
Somewhere around there. There was a discrepancy on my the application. I put something. My wording was one way, and they wanted it another way, and that was that.
And they found this a year later?
Correct. Well, actually, that's not why. That's another thing. They found it because I got a promotion from. Since you brought it up, I explained to you. I got a promotion. I was a quality assurance supervisor.
Okay.
Then I was promoted to the microbiology lab. I was running the microbiology lab, and the line supervisors care more about production than food safety.
Okay.
So the books they gave me to read, I said I can't release this food or that food until the samples come back. And then I kept bumping heads this and no, I can't do this, can't do that. Then eventually they came up with that. So that wasn't why they fired me. They fired me because I wasn't releasing food like they wanted.
You're bumping heads with the management about food release.
Correct.
Okay. You remember when you lost your job?
No, that's exactly no.
Well, do you remember it being, I mean, I'm just wondering, do you remember it being around the time of her death, or do you remember it being before?
No, that was well before.
Well before?
Well before, because after that, I started working, I got another job. And then that was, to her, that was a plus because she was having some financial problems. So then I could help her out.
Do you remember where you were working at the time of her death?
I just left West Telemarketing.
Okay.
Just left there because I just got some good information about some other jobs. There were some conflicts, some schedules. And West, I was working with Earthlink, and Earthlink Line Group closed down. So I was what they call a master technician there.
Okay. Do you know how long you had that job?
No, it wasn't too long. It was just 2 months. 4 to 6 months.
Now, is that the job you had did you have that? Okay, wait a minute. If you lost the job, did you lose that job before or after her death? Or do you remember?
I believe that was before.
Yeah. Do you know how long before?
No. But again, that all was a plus because I was wherever I worked, I ran the daycare, and I don't anybody. Well, my names I'm throwing to my lawyer, but my names for everybody coming that door at the daycare met me 98% of the time. I don't care if I worked at ConAgra, wherever. That's the type of guy I am. Let her sleep. She was going through some stuff. I always had something going on.
Okay.
So sleep in, I'll take care of this as long as I give me a couple hours sleep before I go to work.
Okay. So you were doing her a favor, obviously, doing that.
I wouldn't consider it a favor. I was staying there.
Okay.
You know, I was in a relationship. I wouldn't consider that a favor.
Do you know how long you were staying there? How long you did stay there?
Off and on for, I don't know exactly. I say. off and on for about a year and a half.
Okay. Do you know how long you guys dated? I mean, if she was found deceased February of 06,
Right.
do you know how long you dated before that? About?
I mean, we had our spats, so I mean, it's not a direct line. I mean, we would break up for a couple months, get back together,
Okay.
break up for 2 or 3 months, get back, it
Okay.
was,
So how long did that go then? I mean, it was my understanding that you lived in Washington at one point. Okay. Then you left the military, is that correct?
Mhm.
All right.
I stayed in Washington.
I'm sorry. You stayed in
I
Washington.
stayed in Washington after I got to the military for quite a while.
Okay. Then you came back to Omaha.
Correct.
Do you know when you came back to Omaha?
Not the exact date, no.
Just around general time period.
No, I'm flustered right now. I mean, this is not a time for my brain to be
Okay.
picking up dates.
When you came back to Omaha, did you start seeing her then?
Yes and no, because I had the other interests. So I mean, we bumped into each other, but yes and no, not directly.
When do you think you started dating her then after you moved to Omaha? Just approximately, how many months later? Just the best of your ability.
I mean, dating her seriously about
Yeah.
6, about 4 to 6.
4 to 6 months, okay? So after moving to Omaha, maybe, and again, we're just putting maybe here, 4 to 6 months later, you start dating her seriously, okay?
Well, we decided we decided that we were gonna try something. That was a
Meaning start a relationship.
right. Me and her
Okay.
decided that. Correct.
Well, yeah, I'm guessing that it wouldn't be one over
Right.
the other.
Right. I
I'm
mean,
guessing that if you guys are going to date and start living with each other, that you're both going to have to probably agree to that.
Right, but I'm just putting that out there because
Right.
sometimes some relationships are one-sided, and other folks are in there for the wrong reason or feel that they have to be for whatever reason.
Okay.
But I'm just putting that out there. That was a mutual thing.
After you started dating her seriously, did you start living with her then?
No.
How long do you think it was before you started living with her then? Because you said that you may have lived there on and off between a year and a half. So I guess that would be about right.
I would say we thought about it, but there were some things that we had to talk about, like her old boy wearing the
Who's old boy?
is Marvin's son.
Right, okay.
I can't be in a house with someone walking around with a bulletproof vest on. And people laid up. One morning I woke up, he had left one of his friends and a couple other people sleep on the floor and blocked her in with some vehicle and left.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to open up a daycare. At the time, she has daycare on 45th and Bedford, the Omaha School for the Deaf,
Okay.
in that area,
Okay.
which it was not too far from Lake Street. So I had to run because the parents dropped their kids off at 7.
Okay.
And I had to run from there while she waits to hash it out with Marvell and put these people out the house.
Okay.
And then when I get back, some little dude sitting outside drives a white, well, I don't know, I'm sure he still don't have it, a white, like a Impala,
Mm-hmm.
souped up, not souped up, but loud,
Okay.
with the 2 pipes in the back, sitting out there looking kind of angry.
Mhm.
Because I guess she put him out, and she's kind of feisty. She got, a mouth. So
Okay.
she put him out in a way that probably pissed him off.
Mm-hmm.
And then but the vehicle that needed to be moved was still there.
What kind of vehicle was that?
It was that white one.
White.
That white Impala was still there blocking both the vehicles in.
Mhm.
We couldn't pick the kids up. We couldn't do anything
Okay.
until Marvell was finally found.
Okay.
And then they hashed it out in private. She didn't want me to get involved in that because my words with him would have been totally different. That's disrespectful.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what she said
All right.
to him in reference to that.
Okay. Why was, do you have any idea why, was he staying there then?
Yeah.
Why?
He had. That's a good question. Well, she has a kind heart. She looked at him as her son and raised him up, but he was old enough to be out on his own. But did
you ever know them to have problems? I mean, serious problems.
Not problems,
okay.
But I was about to come into some money because of Marvin, his Social Security or whatever kicked in, so he was about to come into like $100,000 and some thousand.
Okay.
And she had talked him in to putting some money in a bank, but Bill got incarcerated again for felon in possession of a weapon. They raided the house, and I knew I had to go. When I'm holding kids in the kitchen, and 30 officers.
They raided her house.
Like 30 officers around the house, and we had to. That's when we had to daycare at the house.
Okay.
It was remnants because it was late that afternoon, about 6ish. And I'm trying to go out the back door, and officers out there with automatic weapons.
Okay.
So that was a problem. And the money that she had stashed, she had told me she just kept saying a lump sum, she called it locked up.
Okay.
Was placed in this bank account. And they would always hash that out here and there in reference to that. So I don't know where that went while he was incarcerated.
Okay.
Because the guy that used to live in his apartment,
Who was that?
The guy lives next door to her.
Okay.
He has, I gotta get his name, it's a street name. He has a light-skinned guy with braid, twisted hair, very, very long hair.
Okay. He used to be Marvell's roommate?
Roommate.
Okay.
At the Vincent Gardens, where I stay.
Okay.
They had an apartment out there, and apparently they paid a year or so worth of rent, which I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the conversation I overheard in passing.
Okay.
Because whenever I came around, the conversation shifted.
Okay.
There was a conversation shift at all times, and that's something, again, that troubled me. That's when we separate. Now, when you get this together, you give me a call.
Okay.
Then she give me a call. Like I like women. I like to be around women. It's I don't have any ill for women.
Okay.
I have no need to be jealous of a woman.
Okay.
I can get any woman. I'm not like I'm a superstar, but I'm just a nice guy. It don't have to be the finest woman, but just good company. I don't need to nonsense. I exit away from nonsense.
Okay.
And I would leave for 2 or 3 months, get that shit together. I don't need to come home from work at 11 o'clock at night and you have a party going on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Tuesday. Every now and then that's fine, but it always would end up me getting up in the morning. Okay. Even though I work second shift at Con Agri, and I got off at 1-ish sometime. So I might want to sleep in. Right. But if you up partying and can't get up, and then when you get up again, you want to party. Hey, you run your daycare. I'll talk to you later. Okay. When you settle this shit down, call me. And that's what she would do. Okay. I don't have a problem with leaving her.
All right.
I would recommend sometime. Let's separate until you do this. You know where I'm at. And then she would come down to my sister's house, Michelle's house, for barbecues. I would barbecue for her.
What's Michelle's last name? Okay.
I would barbecue for her down at that house. I didn't have a problem leaving her.
All right.
And leaving her knowing that she was going to date other guys. Once we broke up, a guy was in her house.
Do you know who that was?
Yeah, I know this guy. Don't know his name. He's one of the taller guys from the play. He remembered. He moved over to I know this because she wanted to go to one of his plays. I didn't want to go. His name will come to me.
Did he actually? Go ahead.
I believe he worked at Union Pacific because that day I came in, he stood up, big guy, he about taller than you, type guy. Like, how tall is your partner that came down there to pick me up?
He's a big guy, 6'3" maybe.
He's a little bit taller than him. He's a big guy, a little wider.
Okay.
And he stood up, shook my hand. Okay. We introduced ourselves cordially, and I went upstairs. I said I had to get something from upstairs. Excuse me for 1 second. And he said, not a problem. Went on upstairs. She was getting dressed, putting on I believe a black dress or whatever. Because it was right near her birthday or whatever. And she said, he's about to take me out to dinner. I said, that's cool. I just want to take this, And I just gave her a look like, you know where I'm going, so
Now, were you staying there at that time?
that was doing one of those couple of months off type periods.
Okay.
But I still had stuff there. We never said, okay, it's over. We just said we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Type deal.
All right.
I left. They went out to dinner, and she called my cell phone and said, I guess to sort of clear the air, to tell me that, how'd she put it? Oh, we just went out to eat. He's gone. I'm going to spend the night with. I don't care. That's your business. I guess she wanted to see where my head was, see if I was at the club or whatever. The jealousy was on her part because possibly what she was doing behind my back. But it didn't bother me.
You think she was seeing people behind your back?
I have my suspicions, but it was well, not behind my back when we were together, but when we separate, it's really none of my business.
Okay, so when you were together, you don't think she was seeing anyone?
No.
Okay.
If so, she was good at, keeping it a secret because we knew where we were at all times.
Okay. Were you seeing anyone when you were together?
When we separated a couple times.
When you separated,
Right.
When you were together?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
when we were together, no. When we
Okay.
separated, yes.
Okay.
And there was only one person
For who?
for me.
Who was that?
Girl by the name. Yes.
What, do you know her last name? Is she here in Omaha?
No. I believe she went back to Hawaii. Give me a second. Yes.
Is she from Omaha?
No, she's from Bellevue.
Bellevue, Nebraska.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
How old is she now?
Now, her would be in her late 30s. 35, 36 or something around there. And I dated her when we was having problems. She was, we knew that we was about to separate, and we did separate for a moment.
Okay.
And it wasn't, me and Maria didn't date, it was just a fling, like a week or two fling.
Okay.
That,
Did you then start living in the house?
no.
Okay.
No.
But Maria's from Bellevue.
Right.
And is she a Hispanic female or is she
Yes.
a Hispanic female?
No, not, she's,
I'm only basing that off
Right.
the last name. I wasn't
right,
sure.
I don't know, I would say more of Asian descent.
Asian. Okay.
But her people was in the military over in Hawaii.
Okay.
And because I've seen her around here and there with people who spoke Spanish, and there was never any connection.
Okay.
On that.
Now, is that her first name?
Yes.
It is. Female, maybe late 30s right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you think she went back to Hawaii now?
Well, that's when we
That was
lost
back
contact.
then. Okay.
That was her plans to go to Hawaii and go back to Japan and come back and then go from there.
Okay.
She likes to travel.
Did she work?
Yeah.
Where'd she work?
ConAgra with me.
Oh, she worked at ConAgra too.
Correct.
Okay. What did she do there? Do you know?
She was I trained her. She was a quality assistant. Before I moved into the lab, I was training someone to fill in some slots.
Okay. So you dated her when you and Passion would be on the outs?
Correct. Well, on one of those splits.
On one of those splits?
Correct.
Okay. Did you date anyone else?
No.
Okay. And you think that Passion dated this guy from Union Pacific?
Well, I don't know if they dated.
Okay.
I don't know if they dated. I know that, because shortly after that, we started hanging out again. And then I've seen him, and her words to me, I could have had him if I wanted him, and all this other, I'm like, hey, that's your business.
Right.
That's not for me. I mean, that jealousy is not something, contrary to what you've heard. Now, I've heard all this on the street, that I'm this. No, I'm not.
Well, what have you heard on the street?
That I'm jealous. I beat her. I was overly possessive. I was this. I was that. No, when we were together, we shared a mutual deal that maybe let me know you at for your safety. I'll let you know where I'm at, so we don't have to worry about each other. And that's that. Never, don't go here. Don't call me. She was always gone. so there, I accepted that when I started to date her.
Okay.
She was always, she's a busybody.
All right.
Always got something going on. So I was there for her to pick her son up, cart her son from boys club to soccer game to his friend's house, picking his all his friends up, taking them places while she's doing her thing.
Okay.
There was nothing that would upset me about her. I knew that, look, if I was going to be upset, it would have happened that day when I walked in the house and she had a guy in the house. And this was in July. She had a guy in there. And
Do you know who that was?
that's that tall guy.
Oh, that's the guy from UP.
That's the guy.
That was in okay. That would have been in July because you said it was
right around her birthday.
Right around her
Correct, because she had just left.
Would that be the July then before her death?
Yes.
I guess. So if
Yes.
she if it was 06 as she died, it'd be 05.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
That summer prior,
Okay.
it was then, and because like 5 hours. This is how I got up to stop by the house. I when we're out, I just don't stop by the house. She had just left Michelle's house.
Okay.
She had just left Michelle's house that day.
And were they friends?
Yeah.
They were friends. Okay.
I mean, she watched Michelle's kids.
Okay.
She had just left her house that day. We had a cookout. I had cooked you something after church. Come on up, because church is right down the street. So she came up after church. I had the barbecue going, grilled some stuff. We had some laughs, and she said the cell phone rang. She said, "Well, I have to go in about half hour, 45 minutes." And I told her, "Well, I have my computer stuff over there." I said, "I need some stuff."
Over passions.
Correct.
Okay.
I said, "I need some stuff, X, Y, and Z." And she said, "Either come get it today or tomorrow, whenever." She said, and Pat, just laughing with Michelle. And I was doing something, I don't know what I was doing, but I said, "I'm going to stop by, probably sometime this weekend. Or maybe today if you're going home, let me get out the way, because I don't want to, I'm not the type that have you strung out waiting, me waiting to get in your house to get something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I gave her the keys. I don't have keys to your house, I'm going to have to knock.
Okay.
Now I don't want to be knocking on your door.
All right.
And I don't know if she knew the guy was going to be there or what. I don't know what that was. But I knocked on the door, he answered.
All right.
Shook hands, went on upstairs. There was no anger
Okay. How do you think she knew this guy again?
at the play.
At the play. Okay.
He was in the, what's the name of that play? I can tell you exactly. I hope you can get a picture of it. He was in the, if you go to the website,
Okay.
there's a couple plays that she's in, and there's a big guy, kind of wide, tall.
Mm-hmm.
And he met me, and I was cordial, and I left. And she told me 3-4 days ago, I don't know why she brought it up, but she said something along the lines. See, my mind is coming back now, but I prefer to be sitting in front of my lawyer, writing this all off, but I don't have nothing to hide from you.
Well, it's up to you. You.
Right, I'm here. I'm here.
Well, you mentioned that, so I mean, I got to cover that. Is you're saying that you know?
No, I said I prefer, but I'm going to finish the statement.
Okay.
I'm going to finish the statement.
All right.
She said that he told her that guy that came over, she said, "Oh, that's Patrick." She said, I recognize him. He said, as good as not, he wasn't confrontational, because I guess he'd been in situations where a guy that's dating someone comes over and the guy's there.
Mm-hmm.
That's an issue.
Right.
Well, no issue to me.
Okay.
Because we're not together. And we're not married.
Okay.
If she want to cheat, and I did the world for her, there's no need. Look, if you want to lose that, someone else will pick it up.
Okay.
That's how I live. I don't get upset about females especially enough to be sitting here in some shackles.
Okay.
And I don't mind talking to you. I'm going to let my lawyer know I had this conversation with you.
Well, again, you're mentioning that again. I mean, before I start asking any more questions, do you want to continue talking to me without a lawyer?
Go. I mean, I'm not.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes, I'm not saying anything that I'm concerned with.
No, but you got to understand something is that the law requires me to cover those things and what have you, because if you mention that, I just need to be clear about it. So, okay, if you want to continue talking, I'm good with that. You mentioned several times through this interview about the last days of her life. You used terminology about the last few days of her life and what have you.
Right.
So,
Well, the last.
what do you remember? If you look at that Friday, we were
Here we
talking
go.
about this party that you
I'm
were.
going to take you through it. Friday,
Okay.
the daycare.
Can you take me slowly through
Yep.
it?
Friday, the daycare.
Okay, we talking about daytime now or where?
Daytime, 4 o'clock p.m. Friday.
Okay, so we'll start at 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Friday. Before that really makes, that weekend. You need to go to Thursday, because Thursday, when all them folks start coming in,
Okay.
Thursday at I think I got back to, I don't know where I was. I got there at about 9-ish, 9 p.m.
You got where?
Back to the house at about 9 p.m. on Thursday.
So where were you at before then? Do you remember?
I was dealing with something with the something she had me doing. I did something, then I stopped.
Oh,
I don't remember, but I stopped at families and came back, and there was a party going on.
Okay, so Thursday night, you got back to the house, and when we say house, whose house we talking about?
Pasinetta's house, and
Do you know the address there?
41 Lake Street.
Okay. And then basically you thought you were dealing with something she wanted you to do, then you stopped at some family's house, and you returned at 9, you said there was a party going on.
Well, there was people from that, she started introducing me to people. She said, this is Marvin's, one of Marvin's best friends. This is one of Marvin's so-and-so, one of, just introducing me to people that I've never seen before. I couldn't get in the driveway because there was cars. I had to park around the corner.
All right, so she was introducing you to people.
Correct. And then I proceeded on in the kitchen and got some food.
Okay, can I ask you a couple questions here?
Mm-hmm.
You said she was introducing you to these people, and you think that these people are, you had stated earlier, that they're connected to this thing on Ames, is that right?
Yes, they were in town for that, I don't know, was that, that Wade funeral that week, that was going on that weekend.
Okay. And we're talking about the guy who was killed up off Ames.
That's correct.
Okay, because you mentioned that earlier in the interview. I just want to make sure I got that right.
Correct.
Okay, so basically, when you get back on Thursday night around 9, just approximately, how many people you think are there at the house?
8, 9.
Okay. Did you know any of them?
No.
Were there any females mixed in that group?
1 or 2, but I didn't know them either.
Okay, so one.
Because they came with one female was with one of the guys as a couple, and there was a female that was just mingling.
Okay,
and I don't believe I was introduced to her.
No, that's fine. So 2 females, and that's not including Passion.
Correct.
Obviously. And then the rest were males.
Correct.
And she's introducing you, and basically, she was introducing me to people saying, basically, this is Marvin's best friend.
Marvin's, then she just starts saying these are Marvin's peoples. These
are Marvin's peoples and stuff like that.
They know they're here for the situation, and then they proceeded to go outside. They smoked a lot of weed, and
the people did.
Yeah, Passion did. That Passion did as well.
Okay, that night they did.
Yes,
okay.
And you walk in the house, you can tell that they've been doing for quite a while.
And you said Passion did this too.
Yes.
Okay. Was that common for her to smoke weed?
Yes. The weed guy was right next door. That's how I met the guy next door. I didn't know those people from Can of Paint.
Did you smoke weed at that time?
No, I don't smoke weed. It's not. She would have me go over there and get her weed at all hours of the night. That's how I know that there's some characters over there, because they'd have weapons and.
But you would go over there and get her weed for her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you ever pay for it?
No.
Okay.
She would give me the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
She would pay for it.
Right. She would give me the money, and he would meet me right outside.
You know who was selling you weed?
No, I'm not getting into that.
You're not going to get into it?
No,
or
I'm
you just
not
don't
gonna.
Want to?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to talk, one of her neighbors.
Yeah, but you're talking about these characters next door. I mean, did you ever suspect these characters next door could have anything to do with this?
No.
Why is that?
Well, this is why.
Okay.
The people next door.
Okay.
Because one is a guy and his mom. And the guy and her never had other than just a business so-and-so relationship.
Meaning a drug business.
Right.
Let's be real here.
Drug
okay?
business.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real.
Drug business.
If you're going to say business, just put it out there.
Drug business relationship, and him and his mama. And there was.
Did you ever know Passion have problems with the guy?
I mean,
I
don't. The conversations on her phone, when she got loud or whatnot, she'd leave and go stand on the porch and finish the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but sometimes the phone would ring, and it would be after 5 for example, when she loves clothes. She would buy her clothes from boosters. And sometimes she would get weed from them boosters. And they would come by at all hours of the night. And I know a couple of times when she got, like, had to be 9 or 10 outfits from someone.
Okay.
And I'm concerned, like, we're in a financial crunch. And you're doing this. You know, come on now. And then again, that's, all right. I'm not going to jump through hoops if you're doing this.
Okay.
So then I would exit.
All right. But at least the people next door, I mean, you had a cordial relationship with them.
Yes.
And it seemed like
She had more.
She did too, right? Yeah. I mean, it is what it. I mean, we've heard all that. I can tell you that right now. We have never been told one time in this entire thing that Passion ever had any problems with the people next door.
No, people that no, that's.
They seem like friends, or if not family,
Right.
very close.
Correct.
Okay.
That's
Okay. All right.
that's a good relationship.
All right. So 9 o'clock, you're there, and there's a bunch of people there, obviously smoking weed and whatever. And we kind of went into the little weed stuff. Did you stay home the rest of the night? Okay.
And well, this is what I did when she had stuff like that, and I had something.
This is Thursday night we're talking about again.
Correct. And
Okay.
I'm like, pull off the side, baby. You know, we gotta get up early. You know, so let's bring this to a close.
You'd pull her aside and told her that.
I would always do that. Let's bring this to a close. You know, for one, you don't like getting up in the morning on a regular morning, let alone after you've been up all night.
Okay.
Partying.
How did she react to that?
Kissed me and said, all right, like she normally would. And then she would go back in and talk a couple seconds and say, all right, I'm about to shut it down, or say something like that, all kind of so-and-so, and make a sexual gesture out. You know, she would say things to get people to leave. I'm about to go upstairs and get my freak on, so y'all got to go. Shit like that.
Get busy.
Right.
Shit like that.
And I'm talking to her like, well, you know, you got folks, now we got people. I always go back to that shit with Marvell. When you let strangers live in your house that you don't know,
Okay.
you definitely don't just I told her to have the parties at somebody else's house. The party don't always got to be here. That's what I was explaining to her.
Okay.
You don't always have to have a party in your house. There's other folks that have a house.
Okay.
Go over their house and let them folks come over their house. Don't, especially now that you have a daycare in this house.
Okay.
Don't.
Right.
Keep doing this.
And so you had conversations with her about that, just not letting people come in whenever they want and stuff like
Right. And only, well, your name is on this lease,
that.
and I can go back down to Michelle's house.
Okay. Do you have any idea where Mel was during this time period?
Well, she had mentioned at one point that when he got out, I don't know if he was incarcerated or whatever, but they've got to have a conversation about some money that she had locked up for him. And I don't know if he was out at the time, because I hadn't seen him, but I'd seen his mama. I don't know her name. She came by and had a conversation with Passion. What was her name? I don't know. She had a conversation with Passion, and I'm sure it was about the money because they got heated.
Okay.
And it was saying that Passion didn't have right to hold on to his money and X, Y, and Z. She's the biological mama because Marvell was no blood to Passion.
So Marvell's mom was not happy about her having this money, or at least putting it away from Marvell.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But she actually didn't have it. She put it away from Marvell.
She had access to it.
She had access to it.
Right. She put it there and had access.
Do you know what bank she did this at, or do you have any clue?
It did come to me. Let me think about that. I should have mentioned it. But that conversation went on for a couple of days.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if I was still incarcerated or whatever.
Okay.
I seen him
Okay.
at the mall.
Okay.
He said, what's going on? He shook my hand and kept, just gave me a look.
How long was this before her death?
This was after.
This was after her death.
After her
Okay.
death.
So at the time of her death, or at least if you look at that between that Thursday you're talking about and Sunday when
Right.
she's found,
Right.
do you have any idea where he's at that point?
No. I don't.
Do you even know if
No,
he's
I
in
don't.
custody or not in custody?
I don't have I know he's not. I just seen him, but I don't know if he was in custody then. I've just seen him. I'm sure you know if he's in custody.
No, that's why I'm asking you. Though.
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. So between Thursday Between Thursday and Sunday, you have no idea where Bill is. You don't know if he's in custody or not.
No.
Okay. Well, let me give you a scenario. Let me ask you a question. Let's say he's out. Let's say he's not in custody. You think Paul would have any motive to want to hurt her? In your opinion?
I don't have any motive. But if
I didn't ask about you. I asked about him.
If that conversation that they kept talking about with that $50, it's like between $30,000 and $50,000 that they argued about for some time. I don't know what money would drive somebody to do.
Okay.
That's not for me to say. But I know that they had conversation in reference to that.
Okay.
And
if that was a motive relating to, was that the only one you can think of relating to him?
I mean, I've seen some things that was uncomfortable with them, and for example, right one of the times I'm like, y'all, that ain't cool. Let him get one of them little girls to do it. He'd take a shower and come out in his boxers and walk right past his. I don't think he knew I was home. Walk right past whatever them little. They had little girls spend the night too on the floor. Mm-hmm. Walk right past him and ask Passion to put lotion on his back. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the kitchen, and he kind of looks. Oh, I got it. I'll get old girl to do it. Mm-hmm. But that to me kind of, and he's a grown man,
right? And
you know blood.
Sure.
So when I asked her, she said, "Oh, I just raged." I'm like, "Well, you need to get, that's kind of odd,
I mean, you really didn't approve of, right? When it comes to the shit he was doing. I mean, him staying the way he was using her house or what have you.
Look, my approval was neither here nor there because okay. I was just trying to put in her ear.
Okay.
That you have a son now, okay. A younger son that you don't want.
And
this type of Cameron.
Okay.
You don't want. And
okay.
Let him look real from a distance.
Okay.
So my approval of him is nothing. There's a lot of guys on the street I don't approve of, right. But I don't have to live with.
Right.
So if you're going to have this around, that's not good for Cameron.
All right.
Especially when you got to come downstairs to see him walking around in a bulletproof vest in the middle of August. But there were some conversations, arguments about the money. When he got his money, he had wrecked her car, mm-hmm. Tore the side view mirror off, mm-hmm. And this was 2 weeks or so before he got his money. Mm-hmm. I guess when he turned a certain age,
okay.
they gave him his money.
Okay.
And she had just become just letting him do stuff that was out of the norm.
All right.
Like use the Impala. Mm-hmm. Like why would you let him call you at 10:30 when we're asleep, 11 o'clock, and ask her to use the Impala, and you let it?
Sure.
And she did, and he wrecked it.
Okay.
And they had some words about that. And he said, "I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna take care of it." And we got his money. Not only did he not take care of it, he didn't really do nothing for or her, and that kind of threw her for a loop.
Okay.
And then back to my conversations, because I bring the conversation right back to our initial conversation.
All right.
You should have nipped it in the bud a long time ago.
Okay.
Because right now, his little gang member friend, he's another big guy, was bragging that he walking around with $12,000 in his pocket and a pistol. Mm-hmm. And again, that's in front of.
Right.
And
So the influence of Cameron's probably not the best.
No. And I was just in her ear, and out of anyone's shot, like when we're sleeping or whatever, or having a beer, mm-hmm. You need to do something about it.
Sure. Okay. Continuing with the timeline then, so we left off around 9 o'clock in the evening on Thursday where you're there, and you said you did spend the rest of the night there. You said that you basically pulled her aside saying, let's end the party and what have you, we got to get up early tomorrow, and then she does that.
She does it, then
okay.
We get up Friday.
Okay.
We get up Friday, do the daycare. I do the daycare. We get up 7 at 6:30.
That's normal.
No, 6:30.
Okay. And again, here's what I want to make sure you understand. If you don't remember something, I don't want you to make it up. I'm not suggesting you will.
Look.
There are people who do that, though. I just want to make sure.
Let's be clear on this. There's no need for you to make it up because this has been in the back of my mind trying to play what the hell happened.
Okay.
What the hell happened?
So Friday, maybe 6 to 7 is when you wake up.
That's every day. Correct.
Okay.
I start the daycare. People come in with their kids.
How many people does she have for the daycare?
At the end, it was nothing but 4 or 5. But at the beginning, it was 25 or so.
But maybe 4 to 5 kids now coming to our house. Okay.
Correct. Well, let me go back to something I was told that you asked my sister and whatnot. Let me clear it up.
Go back to
what I don't know when you've heard, because you brought, or maybe you didn't. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
That you asked my family something about, I believe it was Michelle.
Sister. Okay.
My sister.
You call Michelle your sister.
Correct.
Okay.
Because she was raised with us.
Okay.
So that's family. You know?
But she's not blood though.
No, she's not.
Okay.
She's on my stepfather's family side.
Okay.
But she was with us since she was 2 and I was a few years older.
Okay.
I mean, so that's family.
Okay.
That's all that is.
So I asked her what?
You asked her about something at the daycare where I supposedly chased Pasinetta with a hammer, and
I didn't ask her that.
Okay, well maybe that
because
was
I haven't heard that story.
No, well it was nonsense. Pasinetta came, woke me up when I was sleeping at getting ready. I believe I was working somewhere, but I was taking my little siesta, and she said one of her clients, I have her name written down it somewhere, just in case this ever comes up. One of her clients left her car running with the keys in it. And they had tried, but it was the
Was this on that Friday? No. This is something else. Okay, I just want to make sure that
we're on a different date.
Okay.
One of the clients left that in there. Okay. And the car was running. And she came upstairs and said, well, can you get in this car? I'm like, let me go look. I got a wire hanger. I'm thinking there's an older car I could do something for. Mm-hmm. I'll get outside, well, we can throw this wire hanger away because you got to call locksmith till you get in this vehicle.
Okay.
And the lady was like, no, I got to go. It's, I'm going to get fired. I'm on X, Y, and Z. And
okay, but did you say that I asked her about you chasing her with a hammer?
Maybe it was just a hammer.
Right? H-A-M-M-E-R. I just want to make sure I'm right. Okay.
Right, because the daycare kids, because Michelle said that I'm pretty sure it was Michelle said someone asked her this nonsense. But I came downstairs. I said, well, the only way we can get it is we break this window. Okay. And the girls started laughing and
because the wire hanger wouldn't work.
Nothing would work. And I also went next door with the people. Y'all got anything that get in this car? Right. They did. I said, well, the only option is to break this back window. Okay. And then I can have you on your way. You can get the window repaired or put some plastic on it. All right. She said, okay, do what you got to do. So I went in the kitchen, or wherever the tubes is, but we had the little secure locks on the cabinet, and got a hammer and a towel, and proceeded right outside. And that's why all the kids love me. Everybody playing, Mr. Bauldwin. Or now they call me Mr. Patrick. Mr. Patrick, what you doing with the hammer? Okay. So I'm about to get in this vehicle. Then the little boys looking out the window, trying to see how I'm going to do it. And I put the thing there, broke the window, reached in. Unlocked the door, wrapped the hammer back up, threw it back in the toolbox. Okay. And that was the end of that. But the story I'm telling you, I've heard some wild stories that I've chased her with a damn hammer.
I don't think I've heard that story. I can tell you this right now is that I talked to Michelle, and I don't ever remember that conversation coming up about me asking her about some hammer.
Someone told me that, and they also someone mentioned that to me. Yeah. Or maybe I just street gossip.
Was this months and months before her death, or was this weeks, or do you have any idea?
That was months.
Months of okay, all right. Okay, so getting back to the daycare then on Friday, 6 to 7 o'clock, you normally wake up anyway and get the daycare started. And you said you thought that maybe 4 or 5 kids.
Shut this off. Yeah, the daycare was getting started.
Daycare was getting started. You said usually 4 or 5 kids or what have you come during that time period. Okay.
The later that we went up 4 to maybe 8. 8 maybe possible.
Okay. Sorry. Let me shut this off so you don't get bothered by this.
4 to 8 possible.
Okay.
And I start the daycare. I get up, do the Purex, do the bleach, get everything clean.
Okay.
Clean again, even though it's sitting there all night. Clean it that one time. It's just best to do it once over. And I do it once over and start the daycare. And that was just that day, a normal day.
Okay.
And we ended that day with a water fight.
In the morning, you mean?
No, we ended the day. The day was just normal. Nothing happened that day.
Okay,
That
so
was a normal day.
any problems at all on that particular day at all?
No.
That you remember?
No, I mean, we had discussed separating again,
Okay.
but that was not that day. We had discussed,
Okay, I'm talking about this day. On Friday in
Right.
the morning during the daycare, did you have any problems with her?
No.
Okay.
no, we played and look, if I had problems with her on Friday, she definitely would not have given me the Impala to go to my birthday party.
Right, but that's not. I just want to make sure. I want to go chronological here
Okay.
to make sure that it's in line here. So
It's in line.
No problems with her during the daycare.
No.
Okay. So everything seemed to be normal throughout the day. Okay. Were you home the entire day then with her? Do you remember?
As long as I didn't have to take nobody to go to school, I'm trying to think who was there because I did the transport
Okay.
for the school. If I had, yes, I did the entire day we were there.
Okay. You were there.
Yes,
Okay.
so it's my recollection on that. I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
Yes, because we ended up, yes, at when Steve pulled up to pick up.
Okay.
Dad, when he pulled up to pick up, we were in the driveway having a water fight.
And that was near the end of the
That was the end
daycare
of the day, right?
What would be the end to you about what time?
Well, that time was between 4 and 6 when, see, the end is like a 2-hour span when the
That's
parents
fine.
start picking up kids.
Okay. When parents start picking up kids, you guys are having a water fight.
Or, just outside having a good time.
Okay.
Laughing and talking. Then I asked Steve about the birthday party, but he had told me Michelle had already mentioned it.
And what was Steve's name again?
Steve,
Do you
that's
remember his name?
Steve, I don't know his last name.
His son's name is?
That's Michelle's son. Michelle, my sister's son, his father.
Oh, okay. Steve and Michelle had a son together. I got you. Okay.
And sometimes Michelle would pick him up, sometimes Steve would. But I guess Steve had him that weekend.
Okay, so is his son
Correct.
with Michelle?
Correct.
Okay, I got you. I'm sorry. All right, I'm following here. But basically, you asked Steve about your party, meaning the birthday party on that night, and he said Michelle already told me.
Right, some along that line. But we laughing and joking. Then I believe he paid for his week, or I don't know. But it was we laughing in the driveway. I believe he did something, and we continued on with that.
Okay. No issues at all?
No, we having a water fight outside. Again, if there's issues, I would have been gone, and would have had to find my own way to the party. Because even though I was paying for the van, it was in her name.
Okay.
And when the van got repossessed, I got it out.
Okay. Now, around that time period, you said you had access to the van, right?
Yes.
On that day. Is that
On
correct?
Friday?
Yeah.
Yes.
You okay?
Right, that was my mode of transportation.
That was your main mode, meaning that she took usually the Impala and you usually had the van.
Right.
Okay.
Then we would swap. It depends on the business needs of the day.
Okay. Now, it was my understanding through people that her van was having some problems around that time period. Can you tell me about that?
Basic maintenance problems, nothing. It was an old van.
Okay. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
Did she have to? Do you remember her having to take it anywhere to get it fixed?
She would take it to a friend, a guy. He did all her automotive work. What was wrong with the van? It was the Impala just got fixed. The van,
Okay. The Impala. Where did the Impala get fixed from?
50 or 70 something.
Okay.
It was towed up there months and months prior that it had
Oh,
major problems.
that was months though.
Right,
Okay, but
and
when it came around this time period,
I don't remember the van because that night when I said we was in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I was about to go to parties, and she told me what her plans were, and I said, "Well, which vehicle?" And I smiled like,
Right.
Let me have the Impala.
Right.
And she kissed me on the cheek, said, threw the keys on the table on the counter,
Okay.
and said, "Take the Impala, let me out."
Okay.
because the van was behind the Impala.
But you don't remember around this time period again. I'm looking at, and again, we can go days before, Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday of that week. Do you remember her taking the van anywhere to get it fixed? And for what reason?
Now, that's not on my memory right now.
Okay.
All our plans now on hold because of this nonsense. So I'm upset. And yet what happened 3 years ago was tragic. All the way around. My daughter damn near lost her baby because of this. She named her child after her. I mean, there was love for her in my family, including myself. I went through a long, dark period after this, after that situation. Angry, trying to figure out shit. Angry, trying to figure out shit. Hearing threats of my life and threats of my family's life. It was a dark time. Then I finally sat down and grieved. But I had to grieve with sense. Because I knew that you guys were trying to take my life like you just did. So it's hard for me to sit here and not say your take is what it is. It is that whoever the powers that be decided that whatever evidence you guys have come up with in 3 years, which won't lead to me.
I disagree with that.
Whatever evidence you came up with in 3 years won't lead to me. If so, it took you 3 years to come to this conclusion? Because the key things, that my lawyer did, we can talk about this, the key things is your phone records, your, wherever, I mean, where you can place me. I was not around her. Nowhere near her when harm came to her. But you see, I know your take now, because you just put it out. Your take is good police work can put the pieces together and we'll make this work. But that's not good police work, because you just ruined my life. I didn't take no ones. Your police work, circumstantial, made it, or just because you got, man, connect the dots, Todd. Connect the dots. I don't have a motive. Zero. I didn't have no means or opportunity, whatever the hell y'all call it. My sister can rattle that shit off. I don't have a motive. I loved her. We were on good terms. Loved. We were still having relations. So, whatever breakup you got, I was upset. Anthony told me that he heard I went off because she didn't come to my party. I said, man, that was the case. I'm not sure you don't want to hear this, but I'm down there around a lot of women. And I knew where she was. I thought I knew where she was. But it wasn't, look, I ain't going to your party because I'm going to dinner with Billy Bob. It wasn't nothing like that. It was a situation about a death that who am I to say, don't go that way. I'm not that selfish. If your friend died and that's your family, I mean your ex-husband's people, go. I'm going to this party. You know I'm gonna be. And she took her time to come around that counter, kiss me. Here, take this, baby. Happy birthday. And I left. And we sort of left together. And we're talking outside. Happy.
From Friday night.
Happy. And Saturday. Saturday was just only thing threw Saturday off was the garage. Otherwise, when I woke up, she had the migraine, hooked her up, gave her a tub. Relationship stuff, nothing that would lead me to believe that this is it. Oh my God, we're finally, you know. And even if that's the case, I've had some fine women in my life, all who are still alive, some that got things better off than her. Actually, a couple of them got things better off. And when we broke up, there may be a little scuffle and this, that, and the other, but nothing that would put me in this situation. I wouldn't go down that road. I like my freedom. But I'm preaching to deaf ears.
I don't know, because if you're preaching deaf ears, I would have left the room. You keep on talking. So, you know, I'd like to talk to you about that Friday a little bit, going into Saturday, if you'd be willing. And I'll give you my take on that.
Well, I know what your take is.
You don't know anything about my take on that. So,
Your take is, well, it's the, as my grandmother used to say, bless her soul, she's passed. Proof is in the pudding.
Mhm.
And no matter how you spend it, that's your job to spend things. But I've given you what I'm gonna give you.
Okay.
No matter how you spend it. But it's kind of warm in here. Can you at least try to get me out of here as quickly as possible? Thank you.
Patrick, we're going to go here. So, do you have anything more you want to talk about?
No, I think,
I got to get my...
so you about to leave me here for a while?
No. Just want to know if there's anything more you want to talk about. Is there any questions that you have, or if there's anything that you want me to tell you?
Well, you're not gonna tell me what I want to hear.
Okay. See, when you make a statement like that, I'm just going to ask, what do you want to hear?
Well, look, I read a lot, and I know for a fact that it don't take 3 years to piece together something like this.
Okay. I disagree with you on that, because I'm in a cold case unit where it takes years and years to piece together some cases.
Okay, well, see, I don't know.
Right.
So,
I mean, look at shows like, and again, I'm just throwing out here. Look at shows like Cold Case Files, or shows like, whatever. And I'm not talking about make believe shows like CSI. I'm talking about real shows like Cold Case Files and what have you, where they work on these types of cases and all different types of homicide cases for years and years and years. There's time periods, Patrick, where they don't solve a case for 25 or 30 years. There's time periods where they can solve a case within days or within hours,
right,
depending on what type of evidence they have at that point, what types of things they got going, and what have you.
well, most of that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, most of that, if it's cold case, comes into play because science from the 60s or 70s or whatever is not as advanced as it is today.
Some of that's true, but then the other part of that is people will sometimes come forward with new information, or they'll want to finally talk after years because they don't feel fear. I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons. I wouldn't just get locked in, but
right,
I'm not saying that you are incorrect by any means. A lot of that cold case stuff, and you're probably talking about DNA. You're probably talking about how science is different than it was
a lot
40,
different.
30
And
years
then,
ago.
well, in my case, let's stick to me.
Okay.
In my case, I know for a fact when I came down here after a long weekend of partying,
You're talking about, what time period are we talking about here?
that Sunday when I came in here and talked to, I don't know if it was you or I talked to someone.
You didn't talk to me, I know that.
Okay, I talked to two people.
Okay.
One came in and one came out, and one whatever.
Okay.
And they explained to them where I was, what I was doing, and then they wanted whatever, and they took whatever. At that point, the evidence from that house was taken from that house because you get, and again, I'm not saying that something was done wrong on this part, but something was done wrong by picking me.
Mhm.
But you say that you guys will connect the dots. I beg to differ once things come out.
Okay.
You took that evidence from that house that weekend,
Mhm.
and you guys closed the crime scene, which I don't think you should have. But you closed the crime scene. You took whatever you took. Then you let. I'm just getting this all off television because I wasn't talking to none of her family. I reached out. They didn't want to talk. You let go in there and give stuff away for free. I mean, which is good.
That's on Beverly, not on us.
Donate. I'm not griping about that.
Yeah, the scene was released by then.
Right, exactly. That's my point there.
Why? What's your point? I don't
My
understand
point
what you're
is-
getting at. Because
Anything in that house that you guys took that weekend or that week, or however long you guys are there,
Mhm.
anything in that house, if it pointed to me, that next week you'd have me.
not necessarily.
Todd,
Not necessarily. Depending.
let's be clear on this.
I think you make it sound as if is that we could take. I can give you an example. We could take 5 pieces of evidence from a house. We could take 25 pieces of evidence or 100 pieces of evidence. Okay. A lot of times, not every piece of evidence.
Is worth anything.
Sometimes that's the case.
Right.
Sometimes there's a lot of evidence that's worth stuff.
Right.
Sometimes it takes time to determine whether a piece of evidence is going to be beneficial or not beneficial, if it's pertinent to an investigation or not pertinent to an investigation.
Right.
Okay. At the same time that's going on, Patrick, Pasinetta Prince's case is not the only case we're working. Okay.
Right, I
So
understand
we're
that.
working case upon case upon case upon case upon case. Okay, so this is not a situation where you have one detective or a series of detectives that has worked on this case for a full 3.5 years. There are time periods where the case has to be put aside because other cases are coming up. Then we have to go back and try to work the case again and what have you. So I think you're too locked into, if evidence was found there that relates to me, then you would have known it within week 1.
Not week
necessarily.
1, at least year 1.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I mean, when you go back to ask my brother about a watch
Mm-hmm.
that don't belong to me,
I never said it belonged to you. The purpose of going back to your brother to ask about the watch is to determine who it belongs to.
Right.
I don't know who it belongs to.
well,
But I don't know whether that watch has anything to do with anything relating to this incident.
well,
Because, as
The
you know, as I
individuals,
know,
right.
the amount of shit that was in her basement from the floor all the way to the ceiling, and I have pictures of all that, will show you that there's crap all over there. So to say that that has anything to do with anything, I'm not suggesting that it does. It's just
Well-
that when we take pieces of evidence, what
Right.
we're trying to do is we're trying to basically account for pieces of evidence
Okay,
that we
well,
take at a scene.
yeah,
So
her basement was, and that again was from,
her basement was a wreck.
right, and I tried.
I was there.
That's another argument. I'm like,
Well, I don't care. I mean, that's neither here nor there
Right.
about you trying or not trying. It has nothing to do with that. I mean, we're talking about evidence here. We're not talking about you trying to clean the basement. That's not has nothing to do with anything. You know, when I came in here and I asked you, do you have any other questions? Do you
Well-
want to talk anymore, or do you have anything? The answer that came out of your mouth was, you are not going to tell me what you want me to say, but you've never told me what you want me to tell you.
not say.
Well, you've never told me what you even want me to tell you.
Well, I'll tell you that. Back to what you said. I gave the truth on that paper. There's nothing on that paper that from my recollection, unless something comes up when I'm
Well,
talking to somebody else. But
okay, I'll ask you about that. Friday night going into Saturday. Friday night going into Saturday, okay? You're at this party. You're at this party at Club, okay? You're telling me there's nothing wrong on that paper. I can tell you this right now, Patrick. I have phone records to show that you are blowing the shit out of her phone Saturday morning. It's not this situation where you get home and say, I might be concerned about her and what have you, so I might give her a call.
we did stuff like that. We called
Dude.
back and forth.
Call back and forth?
If
I
I-
had 19 calls from the house to her cell phone. 19 calls.
Where you at? Correct.
No, it's not that. It's the thing of she's getting tired of you calling her and it's going right to voicemail because we can show that.
But I didn't.
She is telling people.
But there's no crazy messages on our voicemail.
Dude, it has nothing to do with anything. You have to understand. You tell me at the beginning, Todd, there's nothing crazy on that phone.
Correct.
Oh,
I called Christy
I
100
don't
times.
I don't call my wife 19
do.
times to try to figure out where she's at.
I do. I
Well,
do when
then-
I do when I
then
think she's drinking.
Then I tell you what then.
I do when I think she's
I
drinking.
think when
I think
somebody-
she's driving.
My take is if somebody's calling somebody 19 times in a 1 hour period, I would say that's a little obsessive. I think other people would think that's a little strange. 19 times when it's clear that it's going to voicemail practically every time.
I beg
so
to differ.
you're calling.
I beg to
Boom,
differ.
voicemail.
I beg to differ because all my relationships that happens. If I don't hear from you, I'm gonna keep trying.
Well, what does that tell me about you?
That tells me I not that I'm a crazy maniac. That I care about who I'm with. Not that
I think you're a little obsessive.
No. Because she did the same to me. Look, obsessive. She did the same. She treated me the same way. If I left, didn't call from work. I mean, in retrospect, on the flip side, if I get off work at ConAgra at 11:30, and when I had whatever phone I had, when before she took it from me,
All right.
took the bill, she would call me constantly.
Okay.
The same way. I mean, I treat her the same way she used to treat me.
Right.
I mean, that's not obsessive. That's just our relationship.
Okay.
That might be a relationship, and you might not see that as being normal, but there was no.
But on the other side of that, is we have people with her that night where they're telling us she is saying, I don't want to talk to him. I'm getting tired of him.
But that's not what she told me.
Dude, I kicked him out this morning. That's another thing. Friday morning.
She told me.
Friday morning, you say everything's fine.
Right. We're kicking it.
We're all kicking
We
it.
got witnesses for that.
Really? Well, I'll tell you what witnesses I have, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have a child in that daycare who goes home and tells her mother, Patrick and Pasinetta.
We're breaking up.
Not only that, she put him out this morning. She put him out this morning.
Me and her talk. Let me explain that to you, Todd. I know exactly who you're talking about. Because Pasinetta pulled that girl in the kitchen. And I said, Pasinetta, that is inappropriate. She pulled that child in the kitchen.
But Patrick,
here's
the difference. You now want to explain it, but you never told it at the beginning.
Because that's for
what?
That's for my lawyer's ears. Because you guys are thinking that as
you don't think we know that? You don't think? I mean, but you ask what takes 3 years. Sometimes what takes 3 years is hunting down hundreds and hundreds of people to talk to about your relationship with Pasinetta.
Okay, well,
I can tell you
that
right
little
now,
girl,
you are playing it like it's perfect.
Okay.
Believe me, it ain't perfect.
Well, my witnesses and your witnesses and some of her family witnesses that I know for a fact know, and that little girl, back to that little girl, because I remember Pasinetta said Mr. Patrick's moving because they love me there, and I said I sure am, and we was in the kitchen, and then she went, what was her name? I think it was Day and Deja, because she talked to them like they're adults, and I thought that was inappropriate. I'm like, Pastor, you shouldn't be telling them kids that crap. Even if we are splitting up, that's not for their ears.
Dude, she was putting you out. It's not a situation of just splitting up. She's putting you out of the house. She told several people
let's
that
be clear.
on
Let's be clear, Todd. Me and Pasinetta broke up countless times.
Not saying you didn't.
So putting me out and asking me to leave, and then if she's putting me out, Todd, and it's supposed to be like you're saying, she let me use her car.
Yep.
And we still having whatever. That's not she's putting out to me and just giving me that olive branch to hopefully I'm gonna still kick money out.
Right.
So there's no, I've been put out of her house a lot of times, and it never resulted into this because I had no reason to do that. I look at it as a little time alone, a little time to do what I do. So yeah, I might have. I do stuff like that.
But Patrick, why wouldn't you tell me that story at the beginning?
And then witnesses.
You were saying, hey, full truth. I told you the truth of what's on that paper.
Well,
you didn't. No, you didn't.
Because to me,
you didn't tell me the situation relating to the kid. You didn't tell me the situation relating to them thinking.
I'm not getting into. There's things that's going to come up. The kid in the kitchen. Just like me and Anthony had a conversation about me moving out. And like, yeah, if it happened, it happened. If it don't, it don't. But if I do leave, I'll leave my key. Not a problem. Things of that nature. But that kid, the only thing came of that conversation, no anger, was that was inappropriate. You don't tell them kids our business, And she talked to them like they're an adult. Now they were little girls. And I know they went home and embellished. But wasn't no putting out, because if it was putting me out, I would not have, I got put out when I couldn't use the vans. I got put out when she asked for this, that, and that. I got put out when she cut the cell phone off. That was a breakup. And we were apart for about 4 months, 3-4 months.
Okay.
And really didn't speak to each other. But then we rekindled. She came down to Michelle's house and we talked. This wasn't, as you say, bring it. I mean, whatever.
Oh, yeah, I'll bring it. I mean, think about this.
Bring it.
Okay, I will. Saturday morning. No problems, right? You say there's no problems. You get home, you say. Now, see, this is where you're wrong on your time. And then again, I know that I've told you here, and I'm not about to sit there and lie to you. I know that I can't sit there and expect you to remember exact time.
Right, I don't know exact time.
Not saying that.
But when
I'm
I
not
got
saying
home,
that, but what I am telling you is this. When you got home on Saturday morning, you told me this. I got home on Saturday morning,
To the restaurant.
and within minutes, she's coming
but
back.
that wasn't the truth because
I know it wasn't
right,
the
that
truth
wasn't
because
the
I
truth.
told you just now you're blowing up her phone
Right.
for an hour.
Then she came home.
Right, but see, I wouldn't want
Right.
you to tell me the truth earlier. Now the thing I'm bringing this all out. Now you're thinking, okay, maybe
No,
that
I'm not
wasn't
thinking
the
that.
truth.
Right, because I'm coming.
Am I reminding you of stuff?
You're not that was 3 years ago.
Dude, how
So-
would you forget that?
How would I forget that?
We were talking about
This is how I forget that.
the way you talked about the love of your life. I could tell
I didn't
you.
tell her that was the love of. I didn't say that was the love of
what
my
I'm
life.
saying is that the way you're portraying it in this room.
I didn't say that was the love of my life.
Okay.
I
the
said
way
we
you're
was in a
portraying it,
relationship.
Yeah,
And
but you
we
loved her very much.
I cared for her.
You loved her too.
I
didn't you?
cared her. I cared for her, and the love started dying when she didn't pay attention to what was breaking us up.
What was breaking you up?
The parties, the financial deals that she didn't. She wanted my money, but she wasn't paying bills with it.
So, okay. Were there any problems going on between you two that's creating this issue? Because what you're saying is everything is on her side.
No. On my this is on my side.
Okay.
On my side of the relationship, I can get a bit abrasive in my tone
I think so. Because we have witnesses to that.
about not nothing. She busts me in my head. I don't put my hands on her. I can talk to her kind of. They never witnessed me cussing crash. I don't call her vile names.
Have you ever put your hands on her?
No, if I grabbed her to keep her off of me.
Have you ever punched her?
No.
Have you ever?
No.
Have you ever, for any reason, created any type of situation where you guys got into a knockdown, drag-out fight where be injuries or blood or anything?
No.
Never a situation
When she
where-
pushed me from behind.
with the exception of that incident right
She
there.
pushed me from
right,
behind.
because you told me about that incident earlier. So, and I'm riding in your taxi on that incident because I talked to Michelle about that incident. She remembers you coming over to her house or
Right.
something, saying some story about being jumped by some
Be in
guys
this
or what have
taxi.
you.
Be in
right?
this taxi.
But what I'm saying is that other than that particular incident on your forehead, had you ever been involved in any type of situation with her where, and it doesn't, and I'm talking about all situations, a physical confrontation situation with her between you and her, where basically it's a knockdown, drag out, you guys are both getting injuries and you guys are bleeding. Did you ever get in a situation like that with her?
No, I know what you're talking about.
I'm asking.
We got in a situation in the bathroom when we left a club. It was always because of me doing or saying something at the club. And she came in the bathroom and pushed me up against the wall and busted my nose.
Right.
And there was blood on the wall in the bathroom.
But there were times at clubs where you wouldn't want her on the dance floor with people. You would pull her off. I have witnesses to all that. That is not a normal relationship.
Look, I didn't pull her off of the dance floor. I just did what she did to me. I said, Passion, if you pull me away from, like, for example, when I got this gash, it was because we was at a club and someone came to speak to me and she said, don't speak to, so-and-so. I'm like, that's just a friend, X, Y, and Z. And then she went to the restroom and the old girl was like dancing near me, but I'm just standing there talking, waiting on her to come out the restroom.
Right.
And that threw her off. And so when she got home, she pushed my head up against the other. You don't dance with no so-and-so when I'm around. You don't do this. You just be around me when I'm out. I'm this, that, and other. So if you treat me like that, I'm going to treat you like that.
Okay.
So no, and it's only one time when we at the club because we didn't go out often. And I know that time down at the Elks, where I'm like, no, we're here for a party. Let's just kick it. Come on over here. Then I whisper in her ear, remember you did that to me?
But the thing is that.
So no, I don't
But
pull
again,
her off the floor.
Okay, but portraying it as that this relationship is great.
Look,
But
Todd.
there's obvious times there's not. But I'm not saying
Look,
that,
Todd.
that all relationships are great because they're not. I'm
Look,
not
Todd.
suggesting.
Look, Todd.
I just don't want you to portray that it's perfect because it's not.
I didn't say it was perfect. If it was perfect, she'd have got my check.
And I guess I shouldn't say perfect in
Right.
a sense, but
I never
you
said
were
it was
talking
perfect.
about a loving relationship where people have never seen you have problems with her, and I'm telling you, we have people who've seen you have problems with her.
Those people have
And vice
that don't
versa.
mean I murdered her.
No, I didn't say that. But I mean, we even have our own friends saying that. We even have our own friends saying, well, I can see why Patrick would be upset with her. And I'm like, well, why? And she'd be like, well, because there are times where Patrick and I would talk to him like a child. True? talk to you like a child?
No.
Well, they are witnessing this. They're hearing this on phones. They're hearing it in conversations. Where
Pasinetta
treat
would
you like a child.
always leave the. First of all, that's a bunch of bullshit. She would leave the room
Okay.
and talk on the phone. And our disputes, my tone is like this. I mean, she could say foul shit, but I might say foul shit back. But it's
a
not
pretty strong tone.
It's not like I was being demeaned to the point where it was upsetting me. I wouldn't let that happen because I always saw a way. There was a way out for me.
Okay.
I could always go, and I always been back and forth to Michelle's house.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have to listen to this, and you need my support.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I left, the more she saw that.
Okay.
But then, like Michelle told me, she must have, when she started telling her friends, I'm tired of him, she must have found a groove somewhere
Mm-hmm.
that said, okay, I can, finally end this.
Mm-hmm.
Which was cool with me because I was gone.
Right.
It wasn't something that I was upset with. And you can have all the phone records you want. I'm telling you, Todd, there's a whole list of other folk.
Well, and I'm sure there are. There's going to be other folk on your side that's going to probably give us a different story.
No, the same exact story that you told me, because that's how I am.
Okay. You're talking about the way with the phone.
With the phone, I call my family too much. That's me.
Right.
So it's not that I was mad at her.
Right.
I'm concerned that I'm more like, come on now, she drinking? Did something happen? Not.
But how would you?
Look.
Okay.
So and so, you better bring your so and so home. You better not be X, Y, and Z. Because you got her phone.
So then, let me ask you this: then is that if you look at that set of that part of that phone records there, on that early Saturday morning where you are calling her constantly from the house to her cell phone, trying to figure out whatever, because it's going to the cell phone. It's going
straight to voicemail.
It's going straight to voicemail, right? Then the question would be, after those phone records there, there's not a lot of calls that's coming from you, when it comes to Saturday, Sunday, and what have you. So the thing is that you have a tremendous amount of
You know why? Well,
no, because
I'm
you have
tell
a
you why.
tremendous amount of concern
I'm gonna
for
tell you
early
why.
Saturday
No,
morning.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why there's no calls. Because
Okay.
there's a damn good reason why.
Okay. You can't explain it to me apparently,
Nope.
but I can tell you this right now.
There's
You
a
know
damn
how-
good
You know
reason
why
why.
I read that?
There's a damn good reason why, Todd. I'm telling you right now, when this comes out,
Yep.
when this comes out, there's a damn good reason why.
Okay.
After I did that,
Yep.
and then we had that conversation Saturday.
Yep. And then here's
Then I left. I left Saturday, and then there's a reason why there was no more phone calls.
I mean, this is
Okay.
a situation where you're talking about a person that you care for,
Mhm.
where you were calling her constantly on Saturday morning, trying to figure out whatever, like I said, how she's doing, where she's at, or what have you, 19 times in an hour, and then after that, I know you're with her Saturday morning, and I know you're with her into Saturday afternoon.
Right.
Once you reach Saturday afternoon, well into Sunday night,
And I leave.
not only do you leave,
Right.
you never call her back.
Correct. And there's a reason for that.
Well, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand that. For someone who cares
Well,
as much as you do about Pasinetta,
Tom, I'll tell
to
you.
go 1.5 days
Look.
to not even to find out how she's doing, that makes me wonder about something.
Okay, well, wonder this.
Because the thing is
Here
that
it
to
is.
me,
You know why?
well,
Well, I'm not going to tell my lawyer. My lawyer already knows why. There's a reason that will shut all that down.
okay. Well, let me ask you this.
So go to something else, because that's
Okay,
shut down.
I will go into something else then. Okay. Do you remember the night that she was found dead, and you came down here and talked to detectives?
I came here, correct?
Okay.
You got me on tape.
All right. And do you remember that, because you've already mentioned that, hey, you looked at me, you took my DNA and all that. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You remember how you explained you got those injuries on you?
The garage.
Nope. That's not what you said that night.
Mm-hmm.
See, you're saying that tonight.
I know, because I don't know what injuries you're talking about.
Okay. Do you remember what you told us that night of how you got those injuries? Because the garage story, as far as I know, the garage story never came up that night. There was a story that came up that night of how you got those injuries as they were looking at you and taking photographs of you.
I don't remember what was going on, but I know.
You said you were chipping wood. Now,
I was bullshitting. I was scared,
Okay.
and that was bullshit.
Yeah, and
Because
I agree
that
with
was
that
straight
because,
bullshit.
Right, because I agree with that.
That was
because-
straight bullshit. I didn't want to hear that because my mind wasn't right. They just found Passion dead,
Okay.
and what I said was to get the out of there. So you can use that all you want. I got a witness.
That's what you said, though.
I got a witness of what happened outside.
I'm not suggesting that you don't. What I'm saying to you,
I got
that's
a witness.
that's
I don't
you
remember
said.
what I said that day.
Okay, that's what
You do.
said.
You know.
Well, I know. And the thing is that you're going to tell me, okay, let's go on to something else because the phone stuff is blown. You know, there's an explanation for the phone stuff.
Right, a good one.
Okay.
Actually, not a good one.
Remember the
great one.
Remember the jeans that we talked about?
A great one.
Remember the jeans that we
A
talked
great
about?
one. Yes.
Okay. Those were found at the house.
No, they couldn't have been.
Dude.
They couldn't have been. If that was the case, I'd have been in jail. No jeans of mine.
Why? Why would you be in jail?
Because if you're telling me this right now is for a reason, you bringing that shit up. I would be in jail if you figure I did something with these jeans. Because you bringing up jeans, you bringing up.
Yeah, but the question is why? You said the thing that you just said is if you found those jeans
in the house,
then I would be in jail. Why would you be in jail?
Because you consider that a key piece of evidence.
Why?
Because you've been mentioning it for 30 minutes.
Well, yeah, but why would you think that would be a key piece of evidence if all that happened was?
This is why.
Why?
This is why, Todd.
Why?
This is why, Todd. I read a lot, and I'm listening to you. You pinpointed earlier on but you brought it back up. You pinpointed earlier on the phones, but you just told me why. Because you kept asking me about.
Yeah, I want to know about the phones because you were not telling the truth about. You were not telling the truth about what happened on Friday going into Saturday. That's why I asked about the phones.
Look,
I want to be able to show you that you're not telling the truth.
Look, from my recollection, when I came in the house, and if I called her,
Well, why are these jeans so important?
the jeans are not important.
But then why do you think you would be in jail if we found them?
But no.
Yeah, that's what you just said. You said if we found them in the house, I would
Correct.
be in jail. Why?
This is why, Todd.
Okay,
This
why?
is why. Because you said earlier, and your key evidence.
What?
And
I didn't say anything about key evidence.
well, you keep going back to these jeans. I didn't do nothing in those jeans other than cut grass. I doubt it's the jeans I had on, because the jeans I had on, I'm pretty sure I kept, because I went straight to the party.
Okay.
So whatever those jeans are, I'm pretty sure whatever fiber deal you got, it
What
has
is that?
nothing to deal with Pasinetta
Pat, you had an injury right here in your leg.
from the garage.
Yep, that's right. Okay. And you had some scrapes and what have you on your knees. The reason why we know that, Patrick, is because
You took pictures.
we took pictures that night.
Right.
In this room.
Okay.
This is the same room I think that you were in that night. Okay?
You took pictures, right?
That's right. Okay? When we're looking at the scene, we find those jeans. And lo and behold, those jeans have a rip right here. Okay?
Mhm.
Doing okay?
Yeah.
Those jeans have a rip right here, which obviously is going to be consistent with some injuries
From outside. I ain't worried about
that you
that.
have on your legs.
Correct. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
I'm not. When that guy came up,
And Patrick, on the inside of these jeans right here was your blood,
if the garage fell on me,
right?
correct, naturally.
And on the outside of the jeans right here was her blood.
No, it wasn't. You'd arrested me a long time ago.
Dude, let me explain something to you. It was. I've got a picture of it. We've had it tested. There's 4 different areas on the outside of that jeans. 2 of them were tested. One of them is her blood, and the other one is a mixture between you and her.
No.
Yes,
Not-
it is. Patrick, there's no reason for me
I
to
mean-
lie. And the thing is that you're saying you would have arrested me a long time
Right,
ago.
I
can
would
tell
have.
you this right now, Patrick. We had that evidence for a while. But you know what? There's more to this case. So the thing is, you have to look at, okay, just because a pair of jeans, you know, and the reason why those jeans are important, you're thinking,
They're not
I'm not even
important.
sure if those are, sure they are, because there's a note found in the jeans. Remember the questioning that I had for you earlier when I said, hey, Patrick, do you remember picking up her car from any shop or what have you? Well, I can tell you that happened. And I'll tell you why that happened. Because on Friday, you did that. I have records to show that her car was down there at 60th and Ames.
Okay, that's a shot.
You went into this shop, okay? And I'll tell you why I know this. You met a female in there. She gave you her phone number.
Got it.
And
I
you
sure
put
did.
it in the jeans.
I sure did.
They're the same jeans, Patrick. They're the same jeans. Understand what I'm saying here? I'm not taking this leap of faith.
Well, look.
Listen to me, Patrick. Hear me out when I'm telling you this.
There's an answer for that too.
No, there's not, because you didn't tell me that at the beginning. You're like, well, God, no, I don't remember going down there.
I told you
Now-
I didn't tell you everything.
Well, sure. Why would you not tell me about that? Why would you not tell me about, I
Look.
did pick up her car and I did meet a female.
Because I didn't. That's not on my head, right? The van, like
Well,
I
you know
told
what,
you,
that's important.
the
Patrick.
van is not
The note she wrote to you, Patrick, you know why that's important? The note she wrote to you was her name and her phone number. You stuck them in those pair of jeans. Okay? Those pair of jeans were found in your house with your blood and her blood and that note in the pocket. Okay? That's what I'm telling you. So these are the same jeans. We are not talking about having different pairs of jeans. Mm-hmm. This is all happening within 2 or 3 days of each other. Okay? You've got those jeans on. You're seeing this female down at
I kept my jeans on.
Patrick, you can't explain it. And the reason why you can't explain it, you can say that you kept your jeans on and that's fine. You can say that till you're blue in the face. What I'm telling you is, at the scene, we found a pair of jeans with rips in it that's consistent with your injuries. It's got your blood and her blood on there, and then we have the note in the pair of jeans.
I know for a fact that her blood is not on my jeans.
It is. There's no doubt. And then I'll tell you another thing, okay?
And if it's from some previous, I know for a fact.
Big Daddy, listen to me, Patrick, when I'm telling you this.
Her blood was not on my jeans.
Well, guess what? Your blood is also on.
I was outside.
Your blood was also on the shirt she was wearing. And you want to know why? You want to know why we did the case the way we did it? Because the thing is, Patrick, when you're sitting in here preaching to me about you better do a complete investigation, you need to do this, if you can sleep at night and what have you, I can tell you this right now, Patrick, I'm not suggesting that this investigation was done every day. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
What I am telling you is, over months and months and months, we worked this investigation. And as we kept on working it, pieces of evidence were coming forward. Phone records were coming forward. Witnesses were coming forward, okay? Did we have the jeans with the blood on it? Yeah, we had that for a while. And I'm not suggesting we didn't have that for a while. But I can tell you this right now, is that given the circumstances of this type of case, you should be thanking us that we just did snatch your ass up off the street at that point. We decided not to. The county attorney's office said we need to look at a little bit more. So we started looking at a little bit more. We started testing some more items relating to DNA and what have you. And Patrick, I can tell you this right now, there's an area on the front of her shirt that's probably maybe an inch, I'm not sure. Your blood only. No one else's blood, Patrick. No one else's blood. Your blood only on the front of her shirt. There's a small area near the neck. You and her are in that area for DNA. You are the major.
I may loved her that night.
You bled on her shirt? Patrick,
No. I kissed her and DNA all over.
Blood. Patrick, I'm talking about blood.
On her shirt?
Yes.
I doubt that.
Okay. Why would I fucking lie to you about it? Why would I lie to you? You're wondering why you're sitting in that chair? I am telling you, Patrick, there is physical evidence to show that you're the person responsible for this. But the thing that I don't understand is why? I mean, if you guys had a loving relationship, and I understand and what have you, I get that. But I can tell you this right now, Patrick. There is physical evidence to show that you're the person responsible for this. I have told you 2 of the pieces right now, okay? And the shirt is the kicker. I mean, the jeans, why do you think we didn't file on it at that point? The shirt is the kicker, Patrick.
No.
You cannot
my
explain
DNA that weekend.
No, we didn't have your blood, Patrick. The thing is that you're going to try to now sit here and claim some bullshit.
I'm not.
And I can tell you this right now. There's blood on the front of her shirt, that belongs to you.
I find that hard to believe.
No, you know what? We'll get the DNA analyst up there to prove it. And you're sitting here going, well, you know what? When this is all said and done, it's going to be fine. I can tell you, dude, when a DNA analyst gets up on the stand and they're explaining that your blood is on the front of her shirt in 2 different areas, you're going to be the one who's going to be wondering what's going on.
Well,
not us.
Not wondering. We done had fights before.
Oh, no, Patrick. Before, you said we don't fight.
No, I said that one time blood went everywhere when you busted my nose. I told you that. I told you that all over the bathroom wall. So who knows what she had on?
Sure. Was she wearing her pajamas, Patrick? Because she was in her pajamas. She was in her pajamas.
Our fight in the bathroom was early in the morning.
She was in her pajamas. Is that what you're telling me? In the bathroom, you told me that happened at a club.
No. When we went home, witnessed this fight.
All right.
You can witness it.
Okay, Patrick.
She bloodied me up on more than one occasion.
Okay.
In her pajamas and her.
Do you think that makes sense, Patrick? That somebody is going to bloody you up on more than one occasion, and then she is wearing bloody clothing for years? Does that even make sense?
Look,
that doesn't even make sense.
Not years. That could have been our fights. Not years. What are we talking about? Years? Like
what I'm saying is, let's even say months. Let's even say weeks.
Maybe she didn't see it there. I mean, I do the laundry at that house.
It's this
I do the laundry at that house.
She's got blood all over her, right?
I do the laundry.
She's got a speck of your blood here, and she's got your blood here. Are you telling me that she's going to continue wearing that?
Look,
Patrick, that
whether that makes sense or not, I do the laundry at that
It
house.
doesn't make sense.
I do the laundry at that house.
It doesn't make sense.
I do laundry at her laundry.
Plus, you've got the blood on the jeans with the ribs in it. So, okay, explain that. You can't explain it any of
But the lawyer will.
Well, sure, he can explain it. Sure. I'd like to know how he's going to explain how your blood got on her shirt that was found on her when she was dead. Okay? I'd like to know how that's explained.
Okay, well,
Okay?
I just explained it to you. I mean, it could have happened anytime. But when she came home and
Patrick.
when she changed, she grabbed, listen, you know how that junky that house is. That house is not well kept.
Sure, I'm
The house is not, let me just finish this. And this is for your knowledge only. Well, not only, I'm pretty sure folks will listen. You go up them steps, the big thing of clothes, and the other thing of clothes, and the laundry, and another problem hours, because I was the only one to do laundry. And whatever stays there, and what she wouldn't grab, now, nice, if it was something nice, like a dress or some stuff, the nice shit she wore to the play. Now we never fought none of that. Now if it was some of my blood on some of that's different. But pajamas when we wake up or get ready to go to bed.
But here's the problem, Patrick. Here's the problem. With the exception of one incident, you tell me I've never had any instance with her where we have fought where she would have blood on anything. Here you are now saying,
No,
well,
if we
fought
fought one time.
No, yeah, but then now you're
You
saying
at the end of the interview, Todd.
Right.
I'm not gonna argue with you. You
No.
asked me, have you ever had a knockdown, drag out blood out? And I said,
no,
I have been bloody a
Right.
lot of times.
no, you didn't. One time.
This
One
time, and the busted nose other time, and maybe another kid. But her son witnessed it all. He didn't witness me whooping her ass. He witnessed me bloody.
Yeah. So that's how you're going to explain it.
I don't have to explain it.
You don't.
It's in the proof will come out.
How?
We've had
We have physical evidence at the scene that puts you at the scene.
No,
There's
not-
blood on her shirt.
not at the scene.
Yes, we do.
I live with her and we fought.
Okay, so what?
And I did the laundry. I mean,
So what? Are you? That
all
doesn't
I'm
make
saying
sense.
is when she's rushing that day to get outside to do whatever, because she had just got out the tub,
Mhm.
and whatever she threw on
Was probably bloody at that time.
was out of dirty clothes or
Mhm.
out of just grabbing shit.
Mhm.
Another conversation that we've had 100 times. Because if I don't do the laundry, it just sits there
So
and
what is-
piles the fuck up.
Okay, so what you're saying is that could be bloody clothing just laying there. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense because I do the laundry.
Okay. No, I'm not saying that. Does that make sense to you that
It's
a
not going
person
to make
would
sense to
just-
you because you're a cop and you want me to be guilty of this. And the conversation is almost over.
Okay.
You want me to be guilty of this no matter what shape. I mean, that you can spin all this blood and evidence. I'm glad I know this.
Okay.
I mean, because it's
Well, you've tried to explain it, and I'm okay with that too.
I don't have to explain it.
I mean, that's the same thing as the wood chipping thing. Ludicrous statement.
Well,
But you know what?
Well,
I did a wood chipping, and now I did it because of because of the garage door.
look, let's be clear.
Which actually, if I'm not mistaken, and again, I maybe I won't even say it because I'm not sure if I'm even right on that statement. So I'll wait.
Well, the wood chip came because I was fucking scared and nervous and wanted to get the f- out that room.
So you just said it just to say it?
Said anything because I wanted to get out. I just got some terrible news.
Okay. Which is not true, obviously. The wood chipping thing's not true. You don't wood chip.
The guy at my neighbor who came out to help me getting beat up by that garage
Mhm.
is a witness to all of that.
Right. Witness to the garage thing.
Correct.
Yeah, but how is he a witness to her blood being on your jeans?
That look again. We
Oh.
fought 1,000 times.
Okay. So you would have blood on those jeans too.
Look, young man.
I'm just.
if I'm fighting, if I'm fighting with someone,
Here's the thing, though. But you're not explaining it. We fought 1,000 times. She wasn't bloody. Me, I was bloody. I had the nose. I had the head. That's what you told me. But you know what? Her blood is on your jeans. How does she bleed on your jeans?
Let's talk.
All right. So now we get another story.
No, not another story.
Sure we do.
I wasn't going to bring up.
Well,
not a story.
Well, you're not going to bring it up because you don't want to tell us the truth.
I already told you the truth. When I stopped her from beating me up one time, and I grabbed her arm hard, and I threw her down, and I'm pretty sure you heard that she had bruises on her arm. I threw her down. Threw her down.
This is a person who never physically assaulted her earlier in this interview.
No, threw her down to keep her off of me, not physically assault her.
When you throw a person down, you weigh 80 pounds or 70 pounds heavier than her.
I pushed her down to the bed. She jumped up, threw a candle at me. I'm trying to leave. Mm-hmm. I'm protecting myself. Right. I've never brought harm to her.
Okay.
And once or twice, with me bleeding, I'm just trying to get out of the house.
Okay.
And there's
Don't you think it's a little ironic? Don't you think it's a little ironic that those just happen to be the same pair of jeans throughout this weekend, where it's got the female's phone number in it, the tears on it, the blood on it for her?
I don't have jeans. I wear the same pair of jeans on and those jeans that Marvell had, I used to cut grass in.
Not Marvell's jeans, because they're not the same brand.
Okay, got it.
They're
so
yours.
They're my grass cutting jeans.
I don't know what type of jeans they
Right,
are.
and I throw them on a regular basis.
Okay. With her blood on it.
Look.
I'm just asking, dude. You're trying to sit there and tell me, okay, there was another incident that I didn't want to tell you.
I'm sure there were no big gashes of blood. And if we had a little scrape or a fight and something happened and there's blood, we fought on occasion, but nothing that would bring us to this point.
Huh.
So sometimes she's drunk out of her mind.
So this is all her fault.
No, I'm drunk too. So if two drunks are fighting, then we end up making up. No, it's not all her fault.
But I mean, Patrick, you were portraying this earlier as we don't fight. We don't fight. That's what you're portraying. Now the thing is, now all this stuff is coming up, and
I
now you're
told you
like,
about this.
I know,
and I told you about the bloody nose.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple other.
But that's her against you. You still can't explain the blood on her knees. You still can't explain her blood on your pants.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, I can. I mean, at this
That's
point,
all going to come out, right?
Exactly. At this
Okay.
point, Todd, I mean, I'm glad you got that. But if all them other folk that's on your team that's telling you these stories, because they're on your team, all these other folk that are on my team will tell something totally different.
Right.
And not only totally different.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think, Patrick, here's the thing. Let's just say this. I think you can look at a case like this, and you could look at each team's side, and if you wanted to, you could probably wipe out every story. Because there's one thing that you may never be able to overcome: physical evidence. People want the CSI effect.
Right.
People watch CSI. Juries want the CSI effect.
Right.
And I'm telling you right now, we got it.
We
We got the physical evidence at the scene. We got the jeans with her blood. We've got her shirt with your blood. You're going to have a harder time explaining it than you think. And I think your lawyer, you keep on mentioning that, is going to have a harder time explaining it than you think. Okay? And the thing is, there may be an explanation. Okay?
Yes.
Well, you're saying there's an explanation, and the thing is that my explanation is things may have just gotten out of hand.
There was nothing to
Between
get out
you
of
two.
hand. So let's not go there. There was nothing to get out of hand.
Well, it's physical evidence to show that you're at the scene, and it puts you at the scene. And
I
the
live
thing is
there.
that- No. It puts you directly at the scene where she's found. I'm not talking about you living there. I'm talking about where she is found dead. The shirt shows your blood there. Okay?
Look.
So the thing is that if things got out of hand, things got out of hand. I understand that. But the thing is, to sit there, it's almost like this thing of a kid having his hand in the cookie jar. And mom finally comes up and says, I caught you in the cookie jar. And he says, it's not me. That's not me in the cookie jar. That's exactly what's going on here. Evidence to show he's in the cookie jar. Evidence to show that you're at the scene, that you're right there where she's killed. And there's blood to show that. Now, I think, the explanation may not be, okay, Todd, yeah, I meant to do this shit, exactly what have you. But the explanation could be things got out of hand. It got out of hand between us. And if that's what happened, that's what happened.
The guy stepped on me. It's fine.
Okay.
That's not what happened. Because
Then how do you explain You're going to sit
Well,
there.
again, I told you I didn't tell you everything,
Well,
and there's a reason for that.
all right.
I told you this earlier when you said,
So you're going to be, what you're telling me then is that if you didn't tell me everything, can I ask you this? The rest of the story that you're going to tell later, whoever you're going to tell it to,
now
is
not the
gonna be
rest,
able-
there's some pieces in there that's missing.
is going to be able to explain the physical evidence at that scene and
Yes.
why your blood would be on her shirt.
Correct.
But the thing is that you told me earlier that can't be. You told me earlier about the pants. That can't be. Now you're saying, well, I know there's.
But then I'm
there's an
thinking, okay,
explanation for
maybe I'm thinking this time, or whatever. I'm thinking this. That if there's anything there concerning with me, it's from something that happened in the past.
that. How
and,
can you say that?
And I know,
it's right there on the shirt. She's killed it.
and I know.
How does that
Well, something happened that day.
between you and her?
Something happened, but nothing.
Between you and her.
She was alive and well when I left.
Well, apparently something happened that day because she's got blood on the front of her
She was
shirt.
alive and well when I left.
Alive and well. She's bleeding.
She was alive and look.
Listen, Patrick,
Look,
if something happened, just
Look,
explain it to me. If you think you got an explanation, that's fine. But the thing is that I just can't believe how you're going to explain that. I can't believe how you're going to be able to explain she is found at her residence and the shirt she has on has your blood on it. How the hell do you explain that?
We fought all the time.
So what you're saying is you fought that day?
We fought. I'm just going to leave it at this.
Patrick,
Pasinetta.
did you fight with her that day?
Pasinetta.
Because something happened that day.
Pasinetta was a fighter and always would try to start some nonsense. I always would try to leave.
Did she try to start shit with you that day?
Try to leave.
Did she try to start shit with you that day?
Look, Todd, what you're telling me, and I'm going to look you in the eye again, what you're telling me, it can be explained.
Oh, sure.
But I'm not going to throw that in your basket. Because I didn't throw, there were three things during this interview.
There's a lot of things that you didn't throw in there. I was able to prove that.
Let me finish.
Let me finish. I was able to prove.
Well, we can end it. We can end it.
Okay.
Because there's three things that's going to change this, Todd.
You're not going to tell me those things, though.
Well, Todd, you're comfortable with this. What time is it, by the way? How long have we been here?
Do you need to use the restroom or anything? It's 8:35.
No, but I'd like some water. I guess I'm not going to get any. I'm starving.
Okay. How's that?
Say again.
What happened? You said somebody stepped on you or something?
Yeah.
Put these behind your back.
No, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in and talking. So,
No problem. But no, I know.
good to go?
No, I know.
Now you know. All right. You don't know everything. You know some stuff.
Oops. Well,
That's all right. Well,
believe it or not.
well,
You got keys to this?
I got keys to them.
Am I following you?
Hey, no, hold on. Can you watch him for a second?